So when last we left off with our intrepid adventures, what all happened to you guys?
Some shit.
Oh, come on.
Fuck if I remember.
You had some fun times. You started out...
Beat the shit out of a giant vine elemental looking thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you started out
He was
in
my
the
friend.
pit of the weird colored vegetation and tree fauna that you found out in the wilds that Bo was sent to gather druidic spell component resources from. And while you were there, Leaf was wading in a nearby pool and got attacked by a giant vine creature thing that you all had to deal with. And in the end, it ended up just kind of being Ukra and him 1v1, so... Then, after that, there was an odd moment where Leaf and Brenna ended up both kind of reaching out to a nearby gravestone and having a interesting bonding experience over it. And after that spiritual bonding experience, they were left to question what it meant. The hell did any of that mean? And then you went to go check on the last of the ruins, only to find them occupied.
Just a tad.
And there, you were told a number of interesting things. What sort of things did you hear there?
Well, I do have in my notes, namely, that a certain Father Finnerin has been riling people up against the goblins. Whatever tribes were not driven out by an eruption got changed into fire-breathing creatures with huge weapons.
That they did. They reported a lot of very frightening pieces of information for you. What they reported seemed to make it sound like they were the surviving bulkhead of resistance against these creatures that had kind of appeared, taking over the bodies of goblins and orcs and others, and that they're just trying to hold out. And they offered you no resistance at all, and told you that this father's been sending mercenaries and various people to try and wipe them out. And they just want to be left alone. At the very least, you know that you should go look into that father. So that's where we basically left off, with you all leaving that camp that you had found after stripping it of some runes that you discovered, seeing a bit of a hieroglyphic pictograph left within those carvings, and then leveling up. I hope everybody has finished their leveling process of spells and all of that BS, so that everybody is prepared for that.
I think so.
Indeed.
Wunderbar. So, then we start off here on the Dargouuth map. So with you guys being here, you're saying that you're planning on going to the Willow Pit farm on your venture back to civilization here. Is that the consensus?
Poe certainly wants to do that.
I think we're all good with it.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yep.
All right. Then show me that survival. As you traverse back through the wilderness towards civilization that you know. Womp womp.
Are we back at the church?
Let's see. That's a little far.
I mean, that'd be a fun running joke. Every time we do a bad roll, we end up at that church.
Take me to church.
Oh,
We're gonna be
God.
500
No.
miles away. Roll a bad survival and be put back in the church.
Da 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 da.
Da-da-da-da.
Boy. Now I've got to decide. Oh, I'm sorry, Agatha. Am I not giving you enough attention?
Well, then we got to figure out if there's something wrong with that priest. Like, it sounds like an otherworldly being summoning us every time we roll badly.
Mm-hmm.
As you travel back towards civilization, the way that you're going begins to lose a bit of its familiarity. As you go, you begin to see markings of civilization that don't look familiar to what you've seen previously. These ruins that you begin to see dotting the landscape appear more to be statues of warriors and various militaristic figures, which seems at first a little odd for what everyone kind of understands of Fey lore. Understanding them as more mirthful creatures and ones that didn't necessarily care about aggression or conflict directly. But as you begin to pass one, you find one along your journey that seems to be mostly destroyed, but seems to have an extra bit of reverence to it. Even in its current state, it's obvious that this area seemed to have originally been some sort of large clearing where this statue seemed to have been the most predominant area of focus. I'm going to allow someone and one person to assist to try and investigate it.
I've got a +0. Anyone got better than that?
I
I got a
have
+0 too, but I can
+1.
provide aid.
I have a +3.
Oh, did you pick up guidance or no?
Yes, I do have that. I can guide. I already had that before, but I picked up something else.
All right, so who wants to do the actual investigating and who wants to assist?
I can provide aid for advantage.
You have your axe, Gimli?
And it sounds like Brenna's got the best overall roll, so.
Well, I have the best modifier. That doesn't mean I have the best roll. But
Okay.
hey, here we
Okay.
go.
Mr. 9 survival. A +6.
Look, Sometimes you got to know how to use it.
That's better than 6.
Guidance?
Was there a guidance on there?
Yes, there's a guidance on there.
Yeah, so you got to boop. Oh
A
my
whole
god.
13.
Jesus Christ.
I think Brenna's feeling sick today and is going to log
Yeah,
off.
it's gonna be a day.
The statue, from what you can easily see, seems to be of a tall, majestic, elvish-looking figure with obvious fey markings, turning back towards the sculptor with their hand reached out, seeming to grasp the small hand of a child that's no longer there. All of the inscription seems to be worn away from what you can tell. Just rain washed and weather eroded through time, whereas everything else seems to have just kind of broken off. But as you're looking, you can slowly piece together where some of the other pieces were attached. You're able to see some of the broken parts around it with a little bit of investigation to find where the broken pieces of a ring seem to have been formed on the edges of the statue. It seems as though there's a perfect ring that formed almost a doorway that this elf was walking through. And it seems to allude to this individual leading people somewhere. And it's in that moment that you remember the inscriptions that you saw when you were clearing the runes away. Of a great gathering of people appearing to come together before a portal, surrounded in mushrooms.
Which direction does the portal, like if you were to walk through it, like what direction would you go?
West.
And we came from the west, right? Where
Correct.
we got the runes.
Correct.
Probably just a coincidence. I guess if the west was the way to safety and it's ruins now, wasn't that safe?
Or maybe the answer isn't in the west, in that way. Maybe the safety, maybe the door that started was in the west. Maybe you don't know where they were going.
I guess we'll have to find more ruins to find out.
Roll me history leaf. Everything in all of the history, every writing, everything you've ever remembered, they just say the Fae were gone. Just gone. Not wiped out, not destroyed. Gone.
He's just gonna sadly look at the ruin statue. Leaf is as of the last long rest, he's in his winter form, so kind of like a whitish blue kind of skin tone and hair color, and very somber. And Leaf's gonna use Druid Craft to have some beautiful looking little mushrooms spring up around the statue.
Among the pieces of the the circle on the ground, is there any like more intact piece that would have maybe some writing on it?
Well, golly, I'll give you one more try.
Don't do it, Brenna. Mike had a +1, right?
Yeah, I think it's somebody else's turn.
Come on, Halbarad. Let's see it. You're the one with the idea.
Come on, don't fuck me.
Give some
Invoke
guidance.
guide again. Not necessary.
I mean, I'll take the guidance anyway. You never know. It could be a higher DC. It's a D4, right?
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's
Ooh.
23.
At first, there doesn't seem to be anything with any kind of markings that you can see, but it's not until you put all of the pieces of this ring together that you realize that the carving's on the ring. And it's in Sylvan.
If only someone here could read Sylvan.
Oh no, I'm just pointing it out that in that instance, only the people who can speak Sylvan see that it says, "In hope, we try to find a way." And then you see... No, wait, it doesn't end there. Away from the great enemy.
Oh, what do you think of this great enemy?
Great. Hmm. Hmm.
Can we do like a history check or something to see if we know anything?
I'll let you
Or is this
roll
way too big?
religion.
Ew, gross.
Can I roll really? Or should I assist him?
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
You know, the only sort of thing that really talks about any kind of great enemy, that talks about light and darkness, is kind of the story of the Nine. It's the story about the gods of good trying to bind and banish the god of evil, Malekek. And in the end, them being slightly betrayed by the god of deals. And instead, Malekek lives on in the nightmares of people. Supposedly that was the weakness in the god's plans. But that's just superstition. That's just religion and myth and fairy tale. The gods aren't real. The gods don't gave divinity. Maybe they're just fairy tales. But what are fairy tales? Well, I guess some things to figure out. Give me that survival check to keep on going.
Okay, here we go. Fully refreshed page. Hey, that looks better.
Confused by what the fuck that was, you continue along your journey and are able to quickly find the trail back towards civilization. And easily enough, you're able to find your way back to the Willow Pit Farm. When you get there, everything still seems to be peaceful. The same idyllic farm life seems to be continuing. As you see this wonderful found family of individuals still leading their happy little farm. In stereotypical fashion, you see Gladys immediately begin waving at you as soon as she catches appearance of you close enough. Well, howdy, y'all!
Hello.
Well, what finds y'all just coming down here now? I just love it when y'all come over and see us.
Well, I think I can speak to everyone and say that we're always happy to see you as well. We were kind of just doing a bit of a check-in. We're heading back to the city and just making sure nothing weird happened recently,
Yeah, no goblins or anything, right?
right?
Did you say goblins? And out of like nowhere, you see Agatha kind of like just seem to come out of a bush. I'm sorry, did you say goblins?
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that there was no goblins around, right?
Right. No goblins. Right after the moving bushes. That's what you're here for. That is what you are here to check on.
Well, okay. So we did meet some goblins in the west, and they seem to be headed this way. So we want to make sure that no one here was disturbed, and that things were just normal.
And you can see with almost every word you're saying, Agatha is like slowly shaking her head side to side, almost quicker with each word you say, as you're kind of recounting each of these things. Normal! Normal! That's what he be saying to me. Is it normal here? Oh, I don't think it's been bloody normal the entire time we've been talking. That's it. That's it. Pack it up. Pack it up. Nope. I know weird shit when I see it. We're getting the fuck out of here. And you see as she just kind of like storms off.
No goblins, though. I just give the hiccup 2 thumbs up.
That went
Gladys
well.
kind of turns apologetically, looking at you like, "Oh, I'm sure it'll be pretty fine. Don't you be worrying anything about that. So, just a few goblins, then?"
Well, if everything went according to plan, which it looks like it has, there's
Yeah, it was a very small
no
camp of
goblins.
goblins.
Yeah, but just a small handful of them. If everything went well, they just went straight to the knights, so everything's okay.
Talk about totally reassuring answers. It was just a camp, and if anything's better, they went further east than you guys. It'll be fine.
Well, there was only 5 of them. They didn't seem very, combat ready or anything. They seemed pretty famished, so not a lot of danger. And well, if they made it to the knights, then there's no goblins anymore.
Right. Well, then I guess we are just gonna have to be wonderfully thankful for our knight friends this one time, right? Right.
Yep. Just, sometimes they can be useful.
Wonderful. Well, then I think that for this one time, we are just gonna hope for that one little grace for us.
I would say at this point, if you haven't seen them, the danger has passed. They did not seem like they were willing to stick around here for very long.
Well, that's the funny thing about people that sometimes grew up in great terrible things, you know? Once you see shadow, you tend to always see shadow. But maybe this is the perfect time for a vacation.
Well, look, okay. I feel a little responsible. So, if, and it's a big if, because I doubt it's going to happen, but if something was to happen and you saw some goblins, I'm going to pull out the map and point to the guardhouse. Chances are we're going to be just in there or just in the town, and you can just talk to the guards there and tell them that something happened and you need our help.
Well, that is wonderfully appreciative. And I think that that is exactly what we will do. I think that we will just be wonderfully put. I will do my darndest to just talk to Agatha and try and smooth this whole thing over. I know that she can be a little hot-headed. She growing up in those areas with the humans can sometimes be a less than peaceful way of things. So I get it, Sometimes you gotta learn to see that the world isn't full of hatred and shadows, and there's just love out there waiting for you. But it can be a little hard, But
No, I get that. We are definitely a pest.
Oh, no, honey, don't think anything like that. But you gotta understand, she had bushes coming to life and fucking with the farm, and now you're talking about goblins coming around here, and that's a whole lot to put on somebody in a short period of time when they thought this was the peaceful, idyllic life. So, sudden upheavals and changes in practices just kind of freak people out.
That's understandable. I get that.
But I tell you what, you guys probably came deep in that forest. You probably used up everything. Is there something that I can get you while you're all here?
I could use some more dry goods.
Yeah.
What sort of vegetables do you have available at the moment?
Well, this kind of season, honey, you come on in and we've got everything for this wonderful spring vegetation. Because I don't know what the fuck that is off the top of my head. But I'm sure one of you definitely does. Cough, cough.
Well, I mean, it could be anything from asparagus to green onions to carrots to.
See? This is what I mean.
Is this a leaf situation? We've got broccoli mushrooms and carrot mushrooms and potato mushrooms and.
What's wrong with that?
So yeah, they have kind of a simple assortment of not full vegetables because they don't necessarily worry about all of that. They worry about more of the things that you would expect to be as part of charcuteries and those kind of things, or would be a part of a wine or tea making process. So not the full depth of what you can, or baking in some degree.
Do they have cheeses?
Oh yeah, definitely cheeses. Lots of cheeses.
Okay, I'll buy
That's
whatever
part
vegetables they have available, and a nice selection of cheeses.
Wonderful. How much are you looking to spend? Or how many days worth? How many pounds? How many, like... Give me a general guideline here so I can try and set something for you here.
Well, let's get like a pound of each vegetable, and then like a block of 3 or 4 different cheeses.
Okay, so we'll run the medium gambit of this for getting an assortment of supplies. So we'll say with going for a couple blocks of cheese and a couple pounds of vegetables together, we'll say it runs about 3 gold.
I will hand over 4 for their kindness.
Oh, sugar, aren't you just the nicest thing?
Well, honestly, it's just nice to have money to give away right now.
Would you be willing to trade a block of cheese for some nice mushrooms?
Nice in what kind of way, honey?
Leaf's gonna use druid craft to try to make some morel mushrooms appear on the ground next to him.
Roll me Arcana. Okay. Let's see. The appropriate way for this would be... Roll me 2d8. Okay. You managed to make about 8 ounces of morels to grow.
Are these good enough?
Well, now that is a handy little trick you got there. But let's see, to be able to equate that out appropriately.
I'm not the biggest fan of mushrooms myself, but I will say dried out they do make a pretty good tea. Or a coffee in the morning. They really do give a good wake up flavor.
She will... Gosh, you're really making me think about the commerce of exchanging of vegetables and goods for this campaign, for fuck's sakes.
Apologies.
We're
It's
not
not
making you
you.
do
It's
anything.
the one doing it the most. That's the funny thing. Is now it's like everybody's doing it, and I'm like, man, I really have to think about these things. It's funny. It's truly funny. Please don't apologize. Gosh. So I guess in that situation, she will come back with what at first seems to be a smaller cheese wheel, but you realize that it is wrapped in wax, harder wax than the other ones that Brenna has bought so far.
Leaf gets excited.
Well, if those are the sorts of things that you are lacking with those types of flavor profiles, then maybe a nice brie will work for you.
Oh, you are too kind. I will enjoy this. And hopefully you will enjoy the mushrooms.
And she kind of kneels down with a small knife, and you see her kind of cutting them off and everything. It's like, oh, with any hope, we'll be able to turn something wonderful out of these. And
Brenna, hit
Bo,
that
honey,
damage.
how much we looking to get here, sugar? But first, unmute yourself.
Yeah. Just like if I could get a 10-pack of varying dried good items for cooking purpose.
Well, sure. We'll get you set up with your wonderful little bacon packets, and we'll get you going. And yeah, we already figured out the generic supply day count and price for you, so.
And so that's just 1 gold, I think.
Yeah, because it's mostly flour and those
Yeah.
kind of dry goods that don't really cost that much that you're using.
Mhm.
Yup. Brenna got the nice
I
stuff.
will
So.
get. I will get a few like dried fruits that Buddy might seem to be interested in for him to have some snacks other than pocket bacon and biscuits from both. Kind
Well,
of
that
diversify
is easy enough.
his diet.
I think that this sort of place would definitely have some sort of kind of natural trail mix option that would have lots of fruits and kind of seeds within it, because I don't think they would have many nuts. So that probably wouldn't be that expensive to begin with. So we'll say it'll run you about, I mean, we'll say for 6 ounces, so we'll say a half a pound, because that's 8 ounces, will be a silver.
All right.
So it's up to you to figure out how
Nice.
much of that you want.
I'll get like half a pound of it. But
Wonderful.
ironically, I just split 5 gold into silver and copper, so great timing.
It's magic.
Isn't it wonderful when you have change?
Yep.
Well, wonderful. Well, I will continue trying to figure out something to calm Agatha down, and we will get that all taken care of for you. Is there anything I can help y'alls with?
I suppose just take care of yourselves, and there's really no need for rash action like running away. I'm leaving the farm.
Oh, don't you worry now, honey. Sometimes you just gotta get out of home for a little while and clear your head. I'm sure at the very worst, we'll just take a nice week off with Agatha, go on a little trip, maybe leave some workers here for a little bit, and we'll come back with a refreshed head, and we'll be ready to go. Oh, speaking of going on little vacations, little Gracie came back.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, darndest little thing, man. Sometimes I guess she was lost in the woods for a little bit, came back on herself.
It's a good thing we didn't go and harass a farmer and make him feel like we thought he was a pedophile.
Yep.
Hopefully, he figured out what to do about those mole people.
She just kind of looks at you confused, not really certain about the rest of it. Okay. Yeah.
Don't worry
Sure.
about it.
Totally normal.
It's all right.
All right. Anything else here before you make your way downtown?
Is it the same day as before when I gave Sasha a biscuit, or is it a new day? I forget.
Let's see.
I mean,
Did you feed Sasha a biscuit? Yeah, I think basically
or
we're
we went to the
nearing
ruin.
the end of that day. Because you fed Sasha right before the ruins, and that means as we're now approaching the end of this day, it's that time.
Okay.
I will say that I'm saving the biscuits that I got from Bo for Buddy, and I'm just feeding him some dried fruits on the way.
He seems confused by this switch in appetite, but seems to grasp a handful of them and slowly feed them into his maw.
Look, I know it's different, but it should be good for you.
Seems almost contentedly, almost just clutched handful of various nuts and seeds, just slowly munching on fistfuls of them. And then after a few moments, you hear him kind of chirp and keep eating.
I'll give him a few scritches.
Yeah. That's the spot. So, you guys will end up having to essentially put up a short little camp as you make your way through everything here and reach the end of your day. It's an easy enough camp. Nothing's going to happen to you, I'm going to be honest here, as far as watches and those sorts of things. But a day will pass as far as supplies and those sorts of things go. As the night passes, Brenna's hand grasping tightly to her bag in her sleep. Unbeknownst to her, clutching closely to the package that she found on her journey. It slowly seems to light. And as the package seems to fill with a slight glow, Britta's mind wanders into an endless cosmos. An endless pattern of stars and universes surrounding you. Floating formless in this cosmos, you find yourself peering down. And slowly as you look down, you realize that you're looking at individual points of light grouped together, each one forming a point, a person, a voice. Each one almost echoing for a moment for you. And then, as you're hearing this for a moment, you get sucked into one of these points. And for a moment, as everything seems to be pulled into this one point, you see another cube. This cube looks very similar to the one you've seen, but the image in it seems different. Roll me perception.
Oh, I'm actually halfway decent at that.
Well, let's hope.
My dice aren't.
As you are looking at this one, you're not quite able to tell exactly what this is. But after a moment of looking at it, you can tell that it's got to be some sort of subsection. That this image has got to be a zoomed in portion of what you were looking at before. And then as you're beginning to see that, you hear the sound of waves. And you see the image of a dock. And then you hear the voice of an orc. Well, I mean, we can go out on the docks if you really want to. I mean, we don't have to really stay in here if it's just too much for you.
No, it's okay. I think I'd rather be out here than inside. It's much quieter out here.
And this voice seems to be almost grasping the cube in hand, as it almost seems to echo everywhere around you. And for a moment you see something that you've never envisioned. You see this lizard face attached to this elongated snake-like body with this cascade of rainbow-colored hair coming off of their green scales, grasping this cube in their claws, almost looking around nervously. And then, just for a moment, as you wonder what it is, roll me a wisdom check. No, roll me a wisdom save, I mean.
Wisdom save. Come on, dice.
You feel what feels as though the presence of a great hand grasping around you and pulling you out of this moment that you're in back into this overall viewpoint. And as this hand whips you out, you find yourself presented before this humongous set of glowing eyes. A single eye larger than your entire form. These eyes existing within a maelstrom of tempest and lightning. What have we here? Someone finally has my cube. And then you wake up.
I don't like that.
It's probably fine.
I'm sure you should go ahead and turn that over to the Thieves Guild right away.
Yeah, see, now I'm thinking I don't want to.
It's too bad the goblins stole it from you. It wasn't there when you got there.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about at all.
It will be funny if we blame everything that happens on the goblins.
And then you're like, look, guys, we don't know why they hate you.
You know, it's not like you kidnapped this child, stole a cube.
You stole an ancient runic treasure, kidnapped a small child, apparently graffitied that the people smell, and gosh, yeah, you set fire to something? Man, this is crazy.
Just racism. I'm sorry, goblin friends. People are like that.
So yeah, what do you guys want to do? Where you want to go? Who you want to see?
Ghostbusters.
As the morning dawns on a new beautiful day, you realize you have plenty of things to turn in, report, questions to ask. And it's up to you to decide how to do that.
Eat cheeses to eat.
Oh yeah. Before we went to bed, I would have looked for a rabbit or a fox or some sort of small game. I'm gonna start making some jerky to go with these cheeses.
Okay, so you're going to try... Wait, you're going to try and hunt other game to be able to turn into jerky.
Yes.
Okay. So let's make a survival for hunting.
That one I nailed.
Wonderful. So you're able to search the local wildlife, but you know that the best way of doing this is not through just hunting. You're good at setting traps. Because a keen eye only gets you so far when you have to trust your own ability to shoot something. Sometimes it's best to set the right traps and let them come to you. And that's exactly what you managed to do. You managed to get a number of small game, we'll say. Maybe not foxes in this situation, but rabbits, squirrels, these sorts of things. And then you
Good
can
enough.
begin the jerky making process.
Yes, I'll start cleaning them a little bit before going to bed, and then the next day I'll start smoking them.
Yep.
Do you need any salt or like a dry rub?
Ooh, that would be perfect.
For sure.
Bo and I will put our heads together and make a nice spice rub for this.
Do you want some mushrooms to dry out as well?
Do you think we could make mushroom jerky? Because I know Bo doesn't eat meat. Maybe we could make something for her too.
As a side note, there actually is mushroom jerky.
Well, let's give it a shot.
You just gotta let it dehydrate.
Yep.
So we're gonna make some squirrel and mushroom jerky to go with our cheeses.
Well, one of you got that exactly correct. One of the key things in all of this is the dehydration process. That's why it's a little time involved.
A little time with some time.
Haha. So now you have.
We're probably gonna have to eat the cheeses before we have the jerky.
Oh, you do have a lot of cheeses.
Yeah, but if it takes a week to make jerky, the cheese is gonna go bad.
I mean, how many ounces of squirrel meat do you have? Whatever.
I mean, it just kind of depends on how you want to go about this because, let's see. I do feel as though you have the ability to try and kind of speed up and handle the process. And with your combined skills, I mean, you do have the ability to keep things because that's why you have some that are in more wax and all of that sort of thing to try and preserve them more. These cheeses are meant to last a bit more than your average quick use cheeses.
I forgot to ask for vinegar from Willow Pit.
It's okay. You can do it. I believe in you.
Need to change out that salt brine for a vinegar and pickling spice brine.
That's good.
Worm snake meat is kind of like pickled herring.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
I think Halberd would have a question to the group, which is, how much of what we've seen and learned are we gonna report to the mayor? Like, are we trusting him implicitly with everything, or like, what are
I
we
trust no
telling the
one
guy?
implicitly, especially politicians. I think we
That's
answer
fair.
his questions and not a word more than what he asks.
So I feel there's a caveat of what if he just asks for a report in a broad sense. Just want to make sure to cover all the bases here.
Well, I suppose we give them a Cliff Notes version, but I don't know. I feel like they should know about the goblin movements, but maybe not where the goblins are moving because they don't seem to be aggressive. I can't say the same for his forces.
That's fair. I guess do we give him the goblins that we sent to the knights? I mean, they're basically taken care of already. That is, as long as, the knights, well, they usually do, but let's just hope that they keep on shooting first and asking questions later.
And we don't need
See,
to
I
tell them
feel
about
like
these runes we found either, I don't think, right? Those are ours.
I feel as if we so far have done a good job of not shooting first,
Mhm.
and I would hate for them to send out a legion of forces that simply wish to eliminate whatever's out there and not find out more about it. Information is key, and right now we don't have a lot of information.
That's true.
All right. Well, you have a number of things and people that you can talk to, so it sounds like the consensus of that is we're going to town.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The town seems to be its same normal, peaceful, idyllic life as you're greeted by the guards on duty that seem happy to see you approaching the gates as you begin to enter, and everybody seems to be happy to see you return. Where are we going?
Do we get the reporting over with?
I think we should, yeah.
Okay. We won't worry about all these other people. Delete. Delete. And delete. Delete. Delete.
He's killing them all. No.
No, I've just brought you all together. Oh, no, I missed. Oh, those had repeats. Let's get rid of those people. I'll put you just down here. Showing up to the mayor's estate, you are greeted by the butler, who seems almost at first... Well, I'll tell you what, roll me insight. Let's see what you can really read on the butler.
All of us or anyone in particular?
Anybody who wants to actually see what he really thinks in that moment. You could just be like, "Fuck it, I don't give a
Anyone
shit."
actually participating in the game?
He's actually happy to see us. That's surprising from him.
That's a statue.
Didn't
That's not the
expect that.
butler.
Hold on, I get
Oh,
this.
sorry, I couldn't tell.
They both
The-
move about the same amount.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Everybody mostly sees him move with the same practiced and quickened movements as he seems to ask you to wait for a moment while he notifies the mayor that you've returned. But Brenna notices for a moment tightening of the eyes that's almost a surprise, but almost seems hopeful.
I'm marking in my notes that Jarvis is happy to see us.
And you realize he wasn't sure you were coming back.
When he walks away, I'll whisper to the group, and anyone else pick up that he seems surprised to see us.
Yeah, he seemed pretty glad.
I get the sense that he didn't think we were gonna survive our mission.
Why would he think that? What does he know?
Makes you wonder, what does he know?
Well, I for
Maybe
one
I'm
am
just a
glad we
little
made a
too
friend.
untrusting.
After a moment, he will return and guide everybody over to meet with the mayor in one of the adjoining rooms. And as you walk in, you see the mayor is already kind of sitting at one of the tables with papers laid out in front of him, with a quill and ink vial in front of himself, already set up, prepared to take notes.
Ah, wonderful. I'm glad to see that you've returned. So what do you have to report to me as far as these goblin infestation you found?
Well, we did come across a small camp of, was it 4 or 5 goblins? Didn't really seem like a fighting force, really. Just very hungry, emaciated. Yeah, I guess they're just mostly just roving around. I don't know, trying to find new areas to live in, maybe. But they should be taken care of by now.
So, you're saying this small group of goblins that you found are looking for a place to stay?
That seemed to be the general idea. Yeah.
Why is it that they're looking for something to stay?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I kind of didn't attend much of the classes on goblins back at the college, so I'm not too sure on their social habits. I guess maybe those ones got kicked out.
Disruptions amongst the goblins, you say? So, something caused this small group to begin pushing eastwards towards us.
I mean, I'm not even sure they really knew that much that there was, so many people around here.
Well, that makes it sound more like scouts then, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, you know how the knights are. They don't really ask questions, they just shoot first, so we kind of sent them towards the knight outpost
Oh.
so that, they would take care of the problem.
Interesting. So, you told them to walk through most of the entirety of our civilization before hopefully meeting their demise. Is that correct?
Pretty much.
Oh, well, I hope that they are not scouts then. Otherwise, that sounds like the sort of thing that they would want to see and report.
That's a fair point. They didn't seem as interested in scouting as they were interested in food, so we kind of told them that they would find a place to stay there.
Ah, that I can understand. A little bit of persuasion with a little bit of half-truths. Those are the sorts of things you have to do with people that won't accept good answers.
I mean, to be fair, it was rather the truth. I don't think they're going to be walking away from there.
Well, yes, I would hope that at the very least our sword-happy friends can be depended upon for some things, but, well, in this moment, I had reason to believe that there might be more.
What makes you say that?
Well, I'm not sure if you've been out that way, but out towards the edges of town, there's the Church of Eternal Sacrifice that Brotherhood of Sacrifices kind of established there for some time to, push the belief of the Nine and that sort of thing, or at least their version of it. Well, the Father there seems to believe that there's a force out there that's coming this way. And he seems to believe that none of them are what they seem.
In what way? Do you have anything specific he said, or?
Well, that's the sort of thing with these religious, zealotous types, isn't it? It's all visions and portents and that sort of things. Hard to ascertain real details, and that's why I sort of hoped that you would be able to provide more. He
So,
seems to believe that there's
another mission then.
Well, he thought in all of this, raving at me for weeks now, that there was some great horde coming for us. He believes that there's some giant wave of goblins that are going to come and overtake us.
What was his name again?
The father. That's who you want to know.
His name is Father?
No, his name's Father Fanarin.
Oh, okay.
Why does he think there's a horde that's gonna come and overtake us?
Like I said, visions, portents, these sorts of odd things. I really don't know if that sort of people, you know. They all say that they get these terrible visions, and, well, I've never had that sort of thing, except for, well, you know, unless I've had too much to drink.
Of course.
So I don't know anything about
I
this.
usually just get the spins.
Well, you see, I've never had any sort of crazy dreams, have you?
Not really.
No. No. No crazy dreams.
Halbrand, nope!
Yes.
Rest of party,
Nothing weird here.
Crazy visions, not dreams.
Yeah, you'd have to be asleep for it to be a dream, so you didn't have a crazy dream.
Yeah. So I really don't know as far as what he's saying. You know, he's saying he's had terrible nightmares and dreams for months now about this horde of creatures masked as goblins coming for us all. But, I mean, really, it sounds like nightmares and ravings of a madman, if you ask me. I mean, of course, goblins are scary to all of those who can't really see them and have never dealt with those sorts of things, so, you know, it's a little different for them, I imagine.
So, excuse my ignorance here, just, human of the group. You keep using the word portent. What is that about?
Oh, you know, it's sort of a colloquial term of sorts. Oh no, just portent is more of the potential of things to come. Visions of possibilities.
There have been a few diviners that come through the forest, always think they know everything, but best I can tell, the future's always uncertain.
Tends to be what I always believe. You know, some people believe in these sorts of gods and worships and all of that, but I only believe in the natural world around us. What we can view, control. Magic is real as everything else in this world, but no gods to control us. So who am I to believe in divine beings guiding my dreams in this sort of hogwash? But, well, he's
Brenna
been...
will subtly try to put her hand over the etching of the crossed bow and arrow on her arm.
But, you know, different people like comfort and different things. Just not my sort of beliefs in that. But he's been quite persistent. I thought
So
at
I guess
least...
you want us to go question him?
Well, I had hoped, since you were doing all of that, and since the report had happened that goblins were spotted, and that in the end sort of excited him even more. So in the end, I hoped that perhaps you would find something more in all of this. Something that might help calm him, or point towards something he's thinking he's seeing.
Can we just tell him we saw the goblins going south and he can go on a merry little chase?
I don't know. Maybe you could convince him that there's nothing to worry about.
So you want us to do you a favor then?
Well, if you're saying that all of this, your reports to send the knights on this wonderful little journey, was because of 4 scouts that you've sent to them, well, you could consider it wrapping everything up. Paying a kind service to a concerned citizen.
So, kind of favor for a favor kind of thing, right? Like kind of what we discussed.
Look, these are the people that Arvols is made upset. This person, these brothers of sacrifice, they work closely with the crown. So any time one of them shows up, it ends up being similar to the knights. This father seems different. I don't know what it is. I don't know if perhaps he's on the outs. But it's another thorn in all of this. So hopefully, the nights that got exacerbated after your report will be taken care of if you sent their very query to them. So if you can
How
help...
much of what he's saying do we believe?
Well, this is entirely based off of the conversation that Halbarad had with him. Because Halbarad told him that the knights were a problem, and it was only a problem because of the report, and essentially it making a situation. And Halbarad saying hopefully he could essentially get to a point that he could bring that pressure off of the kingdom here, the city here. Mm-hmm. And that by being honest with him and working with him and giving him certain leeways, that hopefully they could reach that. But I'll tell you what, roll me insight in this moment.
Which I'm also trying to remind him, like, not openly about the letter that we had talked about that he would.
He seemed to sigh and start talking more plainly with this last part. Like he's trying to be a little blunt in this. And he's ending this with saying, "This is the last thorn that's left."
So, if this Father Finneran, basically, you want us to find out if he's on the outskirts of the Brotherhood or if he is just a messenger of things to come, right?
Or just placate the man. I really don't care. Make him content. You believe that this is done. If that's true, make him believe it. And he'll simply be okay. Or not listen to his raving madness as I have for months now. That's up to you. But this is the one, if what you say is true, and the knights will be gone with all of this, then seems to be the one thorn of Arwold left for us. So, placate him, and all becomes quiet. And we can go back to the peaceful life of you pursuing something a bit stronger. And perhaps seeing into this other business you wanted to. I do hear that the maiden has made a good recovery since you've last left.
That's good to hear.
Yes, fainting spells seem to be a thing as of late. Now, is there anything else that you wish to report?
I'll kind of look at the rest of the party. I think that was it.
Wonderful. Then it sounds like you've earned a week off. Take your time to perhaps look into the things that you want to see. And then maybe when you've returned, everything can be taken care of. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that seems good to me.
Wonderful. A good rest after a hard journey. What sort of wonderful reward do we give round here? And wonderful. Take the week off. I will let lieutenants know, and we will take care of the rest, and you enjoy yourselves for your wonderful service here at Egolis. We thank you. And you're free to go. The question is, where do you go?
That is a good question. I don't know where I would go.
Brenna, don't you want to turn in your package that you got?
We did go through quite a bit to get that done.
I've got a couple of days to hand it in. I think. Yeah, maybe I'll go hand it over. Oh, by the way, before we all split up, I'm gonna use psychic whispers to connect my mind to Leaf and Grim. As long as we're within a mile of each other, we can talk in our heads.
Oh, that feels weird.
Oh no, usually it's just me talking to myself in my head.
Try to keep it to a minimum.
How far is the Druid's Grove from here?
I gotta roll a d6 to see how many
To
hours
the
we can
east
keep this in.
somewhere.
I wouldn't mind going back there to talk to them about stuff.
It's not. I don't think it's quite a mile.
So for the next 3 hours, we can communicate with each other.
Nice.
Oh, did you want to drop off those things you gathered and then head out to the Druid's Grove with me?
Yeah. How do you want to do?
Oh, for sure. Let me drop off these herbs for Velna. She can do that her thing on her own, and then I can come with you.
Brenna, did you want to come too, or you good? Leaf just kind of gives Brenna kind of like a look.
Sure, I guess I can come with you. I don't really have anything going on.
Cool. Let's all go visit the hippies.
Let's all visit the hippies.
But I drop off my herbs at Velna's place before we visit the hippies.
So, the real question, are you just dropping them off? 'Cause that wasn't the plan.
What was the plan?
That was specifically so that she could try and do a ritual to figure out more information for the dreams that she was having.
I mean, I guess we
having.
wait.
What is there? What is there?
Okay, maybe we might have to do a whole thing.
Yeah, because that whole thing started because they were having visions.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Somebody
maybe
had
I'll come and we
dreams first.
Maybe we'll. I can come help you with that. We can swap stories of visions.
So yeah.
Okay, yes. So.
When you reach that point and you're like, oh, fuck. Yeah, when you first got that report, you were like, wow. Because she was like, everything burning. Everything burning. And you were like, oh, that sounds terrifying. And now I'm going to remind you of that, given everything else you've heard up till now.
Like how we heard of creatures wielding giant flaming weapons.
Yep.
I'm sure it's not my latest.
I put story details and things. What are you talking about? So yeah, you will find your way familiarly to the Moon Bear Boutique, a place that you've spent quite a bit of time in
This is
your
where I get
ears.
my rations. I love a good vegan ration. It's more of a trail mix, but it's like an almond, cranberry, etc. Anyway,
Of course. Of course. How simple of me. Oh, wonderful. Oh, I have been waiting for you to come back. I am so happy to see you have returned.
I got what you asked for. Yes, this right? And I start pulling out.
You bring
Yes.
out the red fern that you cut from around the tree and the tomb that you found, and immediately those eyes light up. Wonderful! I had feared in all of this time that these would not have survived and I would not be able to get these. But now I see that you have grown wonderfully powerful and you have brought to me such a wonderful gift. Now, these dreams that I have been given, I can try to find the answer to this portent. Hopefully, this will work. Now, will you... Well, good, you brought your friends. Will you watch over me while I do this?
Well, I can for sure. I don't know if everyone else needs to be here, but I can for sure.
And you see, like, as they're saying this, they're like locking up the shop and slowly seeming to prepare everything.
Well, that's a little ominous.
I mean, it is like the kitchen witch all of a sudden locking up the shop and being like, good, you'll watch over me, yes?
You're going to stay for dinner.
Now, what did you mean when you said that you would have us for dinner? What specifically did you mean by that?
Oh,
How to cook
no.
for 1,000 children. Well, you'll see when I do these sorts of spells, I am very open, one might say. And when this happens, other things, they can see me back. It is dangerous.
Can I do anything to help?
Why, yes. We will form a circle, and you will watch over me.
Okay.
Wonderful. And you see as they begin pulling out like a small cauldron and slowly start laying out the preparations of casting a ritual spell. Anyone can try and roll Arcana to tell what in the world they're doing. But it's gonna be a high one.
I'll give
As
it
long
a
as
shot.
Frank doesn't-
I'll take some notes as well. I have no clue. I'm not good at rituals.
I can roll because I'm doing it, right?
Arcana, huh?
The other druid is also happy to help.
Halbrod, the last
I'm
time
just-
you tried a ritual like this, something really, really bad happened.
My hand.
Albarad and I are in our heads just going, yep, that's magic.
Leave the ritual to the magic people.
Now, actually, so what ends up happening is Halbrod
Oh.
starts to like try and take notes on all of this, and in the end, Brenna, since you have the highest passive perception, I think, ends up seeing where Halbrod ends up kind of rubbing the scars where his missing hand is instead, watching just the movements of the ritual. Leaf, you realize somehow that this is just some kind of remote viewing spell. Some kind of scrying spell.
Man, with that red fern and this scrying, I hope we don't see old Dan get attacked by a bobcat.
Wonder what we're gonna scry.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing too much at that one.
You can certainly scry.
And you watch as Valna begins mixing this red fern in with some other various herbs and magical ingredients that they have throughout the shop. And Bo, since you're more familiar with the layout of the Moon Bear Boutique, you're realizing that some of the ingredients that are being used here are ones that you do not see Valna use, or are ones that are very particularly kept out of sight. And as this concoction begins to be mixed together, the red ferns begin to take on a purple iridescence to them. It seems to almost fill the small room with a glow. And slowly over time, it seems to turn into a green. Slowly fading through the hue until it's just a slow green pulse. Leaf, roll me a, as I've said it before, a non-anxiety wisdom saving throw. As this green pulse begins to form from the concoction, you begin to feel this thrum from within you that almost seems to pulse along with the glow. And after Valna finishes making this concoction, you watch as they drink it. And slowly, the energy seems to cascade through their skins, spreading like vines and roots, passing through veins and capillaries, taking on a growing network throughout their body, before finally making their eyes shine with the same green iridescence. They take in a gasp of air as this final moment seems to transcend them, and they seem to be staring off a far-off view beyond anything that you can see. And the ancient portals cast closed. The ancient doorway left open. The ancient enemy finds the door. You watch as this green energy seems to almost crackle for a moment. Uh-oh.
Yep.
And as the...
Scared Ukrad off.
Right? I just killed Ukrad immediately. The green energy seems to almost crackle across their skin for a moment. But the jumping sparks don't have the same color to them. You realize that this almost clash of energy begins slowly showing around the edges of this iridescence. These red sparks begin appearing at the edges of the green. They have seen. They are coming. They are hidden, watching. They are not goblins. They are not goblins. And they are coming. And you watch as the energy shifts suddenly, as everything seems to cascade across Valna's body, shifting suddenly in a transference of color from green into a sudden red. Another one watching. Who do you think you are to try to watch me? And you watch as, instead of staring at a far-off corner, Valna's posture shifts. Hunched over, hands extended at their side, jutting out, head swiveling side to side, looking at each of you. Eyes still cascading in the same glow of red energy, but seeming to consider you all. You have decided to look at me.
Leaf is going to cast blindness on her.
Okay.
Hoping that the creature won't be able to see us.
I don't know if it's too late to do this, but
Okay.
I wanted to. Can I cast protection from evil and good to try and negate whatever's happening to her?
Ooh. Why, yes, you can.
Yeah, I was trying
have
to look
the
and see what
slot.
I had.
I had it, but I wasn't sure when to button about it.
Oh, no, I like that. That's a good answer.
I'm gonna manifest a psychic blade.
Everybody's just like, fuck all of that shit. Fuck all of it. Every single bit of it.
Anyway, but yes.
By the way, evil creature, we are known as the Snobby Knights from around town now.
Totally not us.
Feel free to come and beat us up if you think you can.
Ugh, I can't find what Valna's con is.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm gonna lean in and totally not discreetly just whisper in Leaf's ear like, hey, so my talk with the mayor, was about maybe reinstating me as a knight. Maybe we
That's-
don't get them to attack the knights.
Maybe you don't want to rejoin them then. Join them after they're slaughtered, because there'll be plenty of open positions.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. That makes more sense.
Hey, they're hiring now.
In your guys' head,
Yeah.
you're gonna hear, "What are you guys whispering about?"
So Halbrand wants to become a
Oh,
knight again. So he's kind of upset that I told this, ancient evil that he should come attack us knights.
Well, I mean,
Oh yeah,
hey,
Halberd, that's probably not a good idea.
right, but I mean, if most of the knights are dead, then they'll be desperate enough and they won't try to put me in jail again.
Wait, what? You were in jail? For what?
Don't worry about it.
Was this public
Focus on the
nudity
focus.
again?
Okay, look, Big Bad in front of us.
Okay, we're gonna let it go for
Are
now.
you done?
Hey,
This
hey,
shit's getting creepy.
you're having a conversation right here.
Yeah,
Wait,
do you mind?
This is an AB conversation. Can you see your way out of it?
So wait, did protection from evil good do nothing?
Can you link it for me? Because I need to know what to
Were they
roll on
blind?
that one.
It's I don't think there's a roll. I think it's literally a concentration until the spell ends. One willing creature you touch is protected against creatures that are aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, or undead.
Can you just display VTT so you don't have to like read it?
No. Well, yes,
What do
but
you mean, no?
What do you mean?
I
Put it
refuse.
so that people can see.
What do you mean, make it easy?
I want to say there's no save.
Well, that's what I need to understand here.
And I'm casting it on Volna, assumedly.
No, it's that last part. Very last sentence.
Oh, the target has advantage on any.
If the target is already
Already-
possessed, charmed,
already
or
possessed.
frightened by such a creature, the target has advantage on
Damn
any
it,
new
yeah.
saving throw against the relevant effect.
Damn it.
No. I mean, it's still doing something. That's what I need to know. You are, because that's basically you're trying to abjure it now that it's here.
Yes.
Like, and that's all we're establishing. And,
Oh, no.
Huh? No. So I mean, that was 16 and 11 plus their modifier for Valna to try and do this. So as you guys are doing this, and as you guys are thinking about the consequences of saying, we're knights, Bo jumps in, and this kind of flash of light occurs as, interestingly enough, you have to throw holy water in this situation.
Oh, I didn't know I needed that thing.
Ah.
Wow, there's got to be holy water around the shop somewhere.
Oh no, it's totally fine. Yes, I'm going off of that. I am going off of the fact that luckily enough you're in a place where druids keep magic items. So, well, not magic items, but so you have thrown holy water and basically abjured this. So you watch as this seems to sizzle onto Valna as the energy all of a sudden seems to begin to pulse again back to green as the creature lets out a great scream from Valna's mouth. And then you watch as the energy shifts back to green before pulsing slowly and fading out completely. And Valna just kind of collapses there at everyone's feet.
I mean, obviously, Bo rushes over to mitigate the situation.
Did that answer questions?
I honestly think it just asked about 1,000 more.
My dreams have been a wave of monsters coming and burning everything. I saw a portal. Something ancient. Something forgotten. It wasn't meant to be opened. And I found a way to open it.
Do you have a way to close it?
I don't know. I don't even know what it is.
It didn't seem to like us looking at it, whatever it was.
Well,
So that portal that you say you saw, it wouldn't be somewhere northwest of here, right?
I think it was. I think it is what the maps call the Fey capital.
Ah, great.
But they say nothing of a portal.
Well, so maybe we should have talked about this before doing the ritual.
Maybe this
We
would have
can,
been useful information 5 minutes ago!
we kind of, you know, made like some goblins that were chased off from the capital because there was an eruption, and the goblins turned into creatures wielding giant fire weapons.
These are not. These are not no creatures. They had horns. They had tails. And they bore fire. Heavens help us. That means the stories are true. That means it's going to end. You should go. And you watch as they get really serious, looking at you. And they slowly try and start to stand, almost unwavering feet. You should go.
Go where?
Far.
Like, just go away or specific place?
I don't know, child. I don't know. It will not be safe. This will not be safe. But this is my home. And I will keep it safe. But you will not be safe. Run. Warn them. Go. Flee. While there is still time.
So, I have a bit of a dumb idea.
Oh?
What if we go back to the mayor and we just actually tell him what the fuck is going on, and then we just go to the knights and tell them what the fuck is going on, because we're not handling whatever the fuck that is by ourselves. I mean, we almost got killed by some fucking lizard snake things and a bunch of plants. Maybe we get some reinforcements. Thoughts? Ideas?
Perhaps you're right. This seems a bit beyond us.
I mean, like, we're fucking city guards. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, some of you wanted to potentially see what the druids knew and everything. Mike, are you trying to talk? Because you light up for a moment and I'm not hearing anything. At all.
Just switch to Morse code again.
Beep, 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 beep.
Beep, 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 beep.
I just noticed that. I'm like, yeah, I haven't heard Mike for a minute, and I switched the recording, and I'm like, oh, yeah, look at that. He's lighting up, huh?
No, I haven't been trying to talk. I was just hitting Alt.
Okay. I wanted to make sure. That's why I was like, are you trying to talk? I want to make sure.
No, but then I realized my computer had connected to my earbuds, and that's why I wasn't hearing the push-to-talk sound either.
Well, I mean, I'm glad we connected at least some answers there. So yeah.
I wasn't talking for just wasn't making the boop noise.
Makes sense. But yeah. So, I mean, you could do that. Some of you wanted to get some more information about things, too. So, it's a matter of what you want to do. That's why I said I am completely here to just feed you information about all the wonderful things going on in the world right now.
Whatever, that thing wasn't that scary. Let's just go after it. We can probably kill it right now.
You know what? I'll watch.
Don't worry, we got a front row seat for you, so you won't be able to escape.
it's totally fine.
Cashews, anyone?
I don't have any sort of fun thing planned for you guys at all. Nah.
Cool. That is very reassuring.
But remind me, was the Druid Grove more than a mile from the mayor's?
No.
Okay. So, how about some of us go to the Druids, some of us go to the mayor, and we share information?
That could work.
Okay, you go have fun. Halbrod with the knights.
And there won't be any there.
You know of.
Yeah.
Maybe they forgot their keys or cool swords.
Well,
They're waiting for you.
I could always impose the third option. You were told somebody else was having visions.
Who was that again?
The
Father,
father.
what's his fuck?
Father Fanarin.
Yeah, the one we keep getting lost towards.
Yeah. Mayor mentioned him. So did that ogre.
That would put us out of range, though, right?
Well, it just depends on if you all wanted to go there together. Because you could go check on the druids, you could go check on the father, and then you could go talk to the mayor. That way you didn't split the party. Or you could split the party.
Put all the eggs in one basket kind of thing before we report in.
Because the mayor did tell that, look, this guy was having fucking crazy ass dreams. I don't fucking believe him. And now you just got some information about some dreams.
Let's placate him by telling him he's right.
I'm sure he'll love to know that.
Okay, so druids, then priest, then mayor, right?
I like
Sure.
this. All right. Let's see. Boop. Let's see. Don't need this guy. Welcome to the Druid Grove. It's fairly simple to find the Druid Grove. At least two of you have a fairly autonomous way of traversing here after years of doing so. So there's not even a survival check to be able to come here.
The whole way there, Halbard is just nervously petting Buddy.
At the same point in time, Buddy seems almost comfortable going here.
Oh, that's good.
Halbrod, this is kind of a private conversation. Me, Bo, and Brenna, why don't you go hang out with the Bard? Or Ferdinand, he can make you some fire bombs.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
And there's just this Irish-looking druid that's kind of off to the side that seems to be trying to package what looks to be some form of rudimentary black powder into paper. Just kind of looks at you suspicious like, "Oi! Aren't you cops?"
The Irish is making bombs?
What?
Did you just make the druidic IRA?
No.
That's literally how he described it to me like months ago.
Yup.
Also, Ukrad, go have fun with him. He probably has some good drinks for you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's not the IRA, it's the DRA.
Look, you know, there might be a group of people here that they might see as an oppressive opposing force, so... And he might have been
So,
very
Molotov
upset when...
cocktails?
He might have been really upset when the knight showed up here, you know? So, yeah.
Listen, I don't take kindly to your nightly bastarding. You're gonna have to send a couple of guys over to tune you up a little bit.
You're tuning you up, fancy boy.
Brenna, come over here. You can get your fire bombs later.
Oh, you're including Brenna in on the conversation.
Unfortunately, Brenna was party to the vision, so...
Dun, dun, dun. So then I will assume that you guys are approaching Marmoen, who last saw you at the mayor's estate the night of that wonderful ball.
It was great.
As she talked a small amount with Bo that night, actually.
Yeah, we were advised to tread carefully as far as accusing people of poison, etc. We'll have to get more evidence. Oh man, that's a whole other thing that we gotta do. Anyway.
Yeah, and I believe in that moment, I think you also posed to them if they'd ever heard the animals talk to them.
Listen, you know.
And they said no, why? And looked at you concerned. So now here we are, our first meeting since then, with you guys wanting a private conversation with her.
We just want to talk to her.
Right?
We just want to talk to her.
So she immediately looks a little concerned as you guys are approaching and asking to kind of have a conversation off to the side. And her partner, her husband Dagden, kind of looks at her with that concerned look that spouses always kind of give before knowingly kind of walking off as they kind of exchange knowing looks between each other, and she kind of just nods at him. And she walks back towards the kind of glowing back part where a lot of the almost similar vegetation that you had seen previously at that kind of gravestone seemed to almost exist back here in the glowing bioluminescence of this area. So, what is it that you are so verklempt over?
I need you to be straight with me. Have you ever seen another Eladrin?
No, honey. You've only been the only one I've ever been graced to know.
When's the last time someone saw another one? And have they ever seen more than one at a time?
She seems to stop for a moment because she seems ready to answer your first question. But then as you ask the other one, she pauses and hesitates for a moment and seems to consider it. Well, the stories, there have been other Eladrin through the time, but I don't think our grove's records go back to a point with more than one here.
Is it possible that there would be only one that is constantly dying and then being reborn?
Roll me insight, the three of you.
I'm lost.
All right, Bo, you're our only hope.
I can do this.
Save us, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Everybody else, she seems confused, but Bo, I don't know if it's because you've had enough of those motherly conversations with Marmoen, but something about that look lets you see almost pain in the expression and question of it. That is a very difficult story. That sounds like a great weight that someone would have to carry. I don't know if that would be a story that somebody would want to tell.
I've seen a vision.
Oh?
Of one Eladrin dying, and then over time coming back as a different Eladrin. So please tell your story.
I was also witness to this vision.
You see as her eyes trail back towards the fountain in the middle and the almost silent orc that seems to always be residing there. What is it you know about spore druids?
That I am one?
That is very precise. Legends
Legends come from stories, come from, well, one can believe history. Here, where the people live longer than what my people would, the stories are told a little differently. And that's where you can really begin to piece it together. Especially here in our records. You see, Agamemnon there, when she took the spores, she didn't take the spores. It was a lie. The spores awakened in her. Because there's something in the orcs that, well, they changed over time. Because the part of them that isn't quite the same, it connected with those spores. But for them it was different. Two things fighting. And in the Meganenon, they made peace. And that's why she lives in such solitude and peacefulness here. But that's what happens when two powerful things, two extremes of two different ends, are put into one creature. So if you didn't have the disease, what would you be?
I have a disease?
No. The orcs, they've evolved. They changed over time. That fungus, it wasn't... I don't know what it was. But it was meant to kill the spores. It was a weapon to wipe the spores out. And it almost won.
So someone made a weapon to wipe out the Eladrin?
Somebody made a weapon because of one Eladrin. They say there was a war that made the sky burn. And in that time, one of the elves of the Fae, he took a part of that. Well, that's where the story gets a little confusing. Some of the parts, it says that he he took the possibility of the Fae into himself. Others say he took the portal. Others say he took the portent. But that by taking that very essence, he enabled them to be able to come home. But I am unsure what any of that means.
Am I that Eladrin?
I don't know. You've been here as long as the records are. Well, not you, but you.
So are there records of me dying and being reborn?
There are records of different Eladrin. I wasn't certain at first. Each one is merely the reports of each one passed down. But each one didn't know how to handle you. You just were. But apparently, you just occasionally show back up, looking different, with no memory of any of this. We've mostly gotten accustomed to being hands-off with you. We don't really worry about you so much, because you're always back.
And no one thought this was odd?
When you think something's odd, why would you stop it? Just because it's odd? These are people that live much longer than me. I don't really wish to limit how someone chooses to live. If anything, Bo has helped show me this.
I mean, a nice little hay leaf, whatever happened to your predecessor would have been nice.
That was set forth by previous leaders. You
Yeah,
never
well, where's their
remember.
grave so I can go dance on it?
You never remember.
Well, maybe I could remember better if someone would have said something.
But what if you're the only one with the answers?
But I don't remember things. It would be easier if someone could help me remember.
Well, maybe the answer is the spores.
Do you think the Eladrin or I created the orcs? With our spores?
No, honey. They were created by something else.
Well, Ukrod will be happy to know that I am not daddy. Brenna.
Totally fine.
So, how old are you, Leaf?
Oh, that's kind of a deep question. Like Leaf, or like Leaf's entire reincarnated line? Because I'd like to know the answer to that as well.
Leaf doesn't know. I know. Look, when I get to work within certain field points that I know Greg is really comfortable with these characters, sometimes you get to choose to make it really positive.
Okay, so do I just automatically reborn, or does a ritual need to be performed? Do you know that much at least?
Ritual.
Like, do I just automatically, if I die, do I come back again, or does someone need to say a little prayer, burn a little incense, or something?
I'm afraid I don't know. You just always come back. Did your vision tell you anything? Did it show anything as far as coming back?
Well, it seemed kind of like they put this normal elf, put kind of down a gravestone and said some things, and then I came back, and they seemed surprised that I came back, like they had no faith.
But they buried you.
It wasn't just that you came back either. You were completely different. Your features were different. Your gender was different. You weren't even close to the same being.
Well, I imagine if you're an immortal, you might get tired of how you look and, everything. You might want to change a bit.
New teeth. That's weird. Still not ginger.
I mean, when I sent pictures up describing the Eladrin of past, I might have even used certain gifs to describe them. So, the records, they're not always the same name even. It's always a plant, usually a tree.
Usually a tree?
Yes.
There was a tree.
Cypress, pine, leaf.
This makes me uncomfortable. I do not like this.
Which is why the rest of us will revel in it.
Just remember, you can't kill me. I will come back. And I'll make sure it's a more annoying form. Okay, so I I guess I don't know. If I have any other questions, it's a lot to take in.
That's maybe why they didn't tell you.
Oh, maybe they should have. Rather than sharing a vision with a little halfling and finding out that way. No offense, Brenna.
But
Wasn't my vision to see, but now I can't unsee it.
But, well, there's a part of this that, well, it always made me curious. What do they mean by portal?
Do you mean, what do they mean by portal? Who?
Well, that's the number one translation that I got out of all this. That he took the portal within himself. So what portal?
We saw some weird statue at some ruins that seemed to talk about a portal. And then we had a weird talk with Bo's friend about a portal. I wonder if it's the same portal. Some angry creature with red eyes.
Well, if the Eladrin fled, if the Eladrin left, what if the magic wasn't over? What if the magic was kept around? What if he hoped through all this time, through all these years, that they'd come back?
You know why they fled?
From war, honey. They fled from war.
Well, I guess that's a lot to think about. Brenna, Bo, did you have any other questions to ask? Otherwise, maybe we should go talk to the father.
I don't think I have anything for now. Perhaps
Yeah,
perhaps
me
we
neither.
find more information and revisit this.
Agreed.
I told you you were in the rising action part of all of our stories. Have you enjoyed all of your lore for the evening?
Yes.
It's almost like everything has been building up to certain points, and now you're getting to see them interact.
So, what did you all learn?
Let's just go talk to the father.
Okay.
Leaf is potentially centuries old.
Allegedly.
Listen, I'm a century old. Or more. That's super impressive.
Leaf might be millennia old.
Well, damn.
And
Just puts his fingers in his ears. No, I can't hear anything.
possibly immortal as long as he has someone to perform a revival ritual.
Okay.
And a shrubbery.
And you have to cut down the mightiest tree in the forest with a herring.
It can't be done.
That seems like a lot. Hey, DM, could I have learned how to make a firebomb in the meantime?
Or some really good whiskey.
I mean, I feel like that's going to also be a matter of figuring out how to have the proper ingredients.
Makes sense.
So, gosh, I'm going to give you the ability to roll. Trying to choose whether I want int or wisdom on this to learn something.
Roll for arson.
I mean, that's really like, what stat do I want to associate with arson tools right now? I think I'm going to go intelligence.
Okay.
So we're going to give me an intelligence roll. And since you're a tool-based person, I'm going to give you proficiency on this roll. Since you have a lot of tools that you're proficient in.
Okay. Just for the purpose of having proficiency, I'm going to roll a history.
Sure.
Because it's
that
intelligence
works.
with proficiency.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. You are able to understand the fundamentals of creating a delayed fuse and how to be able to pack everything to create that sort of thing. It's going to be a matter of having access to resources.
Makes sense.
Black powder, not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I have a universe in a cube. I'm pretty sure we can find some black powder.
You have a connection to somebody who's in the East where black powder is a bit more common.
It'll take approximately 10 business years to show up.
You just have to discover the spice trail yourself and get it. And then you're good. Golden.
Oh, hooray for slavery and the worst of our kind.
Boy, I sure hope there's not some sort of weird, giant invading force that would make you want to, I don't know, discover another part of the country that might be full of resources that you might want to use in that fight. I don't know.
I'm sure that won't
happen. Me too. That would be boring.
Now you can see the wonderful turning of the page point. So, you reach the outside of a church that you've seen before. Inside, you can hear what sounds like the end of a mass, as the familiar father seems to tell tales of the nine and their
plight to try and stop the great forces of the gods of good trying to stop. I say 9 because I'm like, I'm saying 9, but technically that's the term for all of them, and not all of them are
9
good.
or 9?
No.
9.
So technically it's mostly 4 of the 9 trying to rise up to stop 3 of them. And kind of in a familiar way for the priests of Arvold, kind of heavily telling the tales of Bodshi and his divine sword, slaying mighty swaths of the enemy, burning them in divine light, and helping to save the land of Dargouuth and stop the great evil, and helping to bind Melekek, only to be betrayed in his final hours. And that now we find ourselves besieged by these same nightmares, waiting. And only now can we turn our prayers to Bodshi and the other gods of good to try and smile on us in hopes to save us and our wretched souls in our hours of need. And you watch as the end of his mass comes, and a great circle of light seems to form around him. And you can see through the doors and windows as he almost seems to walk through the wall behind him, to the roaring applause of the people inside of the church. And you watch as the masses slowly exit out of the church, as you stand there watching their awe-struck happy eyes as they depart and begin moving down the path to their various homes. And there you have an empty church. Yes, it's been updated.
You could barely see the ink stains on the wood.
I mean, I told you the last one I was just forced to use a map I had for other things, so I made a nice, simpler... I found a nice, simpler church one for us. So that's all we need for this.
Damn it, where'd the father go?
So, do we try and talk to him, or do we, what do we tell him?
He's probably not important to the story. I say we just kill him and move on.
And then loot everything
That seems a bit
way
extreme.
ahead of you. I am looting the room.
Perhaps we start by asking what he knows and what he's seen before we give up any information.
That's fair.
We should
Yeah.
ask about his vision.
As you are kind of searching around the room, wondering where he is, you can see that his, well, for lack of a better term, Bible is still sitting open on the altar.
And you can see that his is filled with scrawlings, handwritten notes, doodles in the margin don't even begin to scratch the surface of the level of additional notes that are here. And this all seems relatively normal until you're flipping through it and you see in the back of the book where there's normally a blank page, and staring at you is the visage of a demon.
Oh, hey,
Like
hey,
a drawing of a demon, or like a
Yes.
demon's face in the back of the book.
No, there is a full, detailed, like, charcoal sketch of a demon wielding a fiery broadsword.
Does it look anything like what we saw in the red animation from the other place?
What do you mean?
Like whatever the red machination was when what's her face tried to do her scrying.
Well, you saw... I'll tell you what. Roll me a wisdom check right now. Just to check. Look at that. You know, you don't speak whatever that language was. But that was the same voice you heard from those goblins. And that ogre told you that these people were being transformed into something. And so did other people. They told you they had horns, and they bore weapons of fire, even potentially breathed fire. Something that could possess others. But demons don't exist.
So, Brenna, you know your idea? Maybe it's not that far-fetched. I don't remember seeing a Bible with that on it, and I'll literally like hold up the Bible and show you the drawing.
That kind of looks like you, Halberod.
Huh? I'll look back at it. How?
You don't see the resemblance?
I mean, I have a big sword, but that's all I'm seeing.
But the physique, the facial structure, you don't see it?
And
No, not really.
I'm gonna, in this moment, as these pieces kind of click in place and you find yourself standing in this chapel and looking at this picture, Leaf and Halberod specifically, you two got to listen to a bit of a more deeper conversation with that goblin since you had additional spells at your disposal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to allow the two of you to roll me wisdom right now.
That'll go great.
I believe in you.
Okay, not that bad, actually.
You did better than me, technically.
Technically.
You met an awful lot of people. And even though the voice was deeper, even though the voice was angrier, it sounded a lot like the ogre.
Hey, Halbrod, didn't that voice sound a lot like the ogre?
Yeah.
That's a weird coincidence, right?
Sure. Coincidence.
And that's where we'll end the evening. Dun, dun, dun!
So
We've been
level
far
up
too
to level 4?
diplomatic.